Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host. This is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And this time, I'm going to take a look at a little batch of comics ranging from the late Golden Age through the Bronze Age. Some comics that are based on TV shows. And we're starting off here with, of course, the science fiction TV shows. These are, for here we go from Dell Comics, 10-cent cover price from 1953 is Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Of course, Tom Corbett was a fairly popular TV show for just a few years there in the early 50s, when TVs were still relatively new. And of course, it was, I think, it had been a radio show before that. If not, it was a radio show at the same time. And this property was based loosely, mostly, one could say, inspired by a Robert Heinlein novel of the same name, even though, if I remember correctly, the main character was different. Or had a different name. I remember reading Space Cadet, must be 40 years or so ago now, by Heinlein. But and I don't know who. This is great, even though this is very, very worn. It's heavily rolled spine and everything, very worn. Still readable though. Book, and I have no idea who the writer and artist would have been. Let's take a little look. If I can get it open, yeah, you can get to see. Here on the inside cover is a still photograph from the TV show. You can see some of their space hijinks of Tom Corbett and his classmates on Space Cadet going to various planets. And of course, think of Space Cadet. Kind of, they're students at an academy to become officers in the Space Corps. Think of it as Starfleet Academy, something like that. This is issue number 6 from 1953. And here we go. I got them in the wrong order again. We have The Outer Limits. This is 12th center. This was from 1968. And I believe all of this stuff, again, don't know who the writer was, but I think the interior artist was Frank Springer, who did a lot of stuff like this, as well as superheroes. And of course, The Outer Limits was a TV show from the early and mid 60s, along the lines of The Twilight Zone, except I think it was all exclusively science fiction based stories. No weapons on Earth can defeat the strange creatures from outer space. Boom. Of course, another Dell comic. And what issue was this? 13, I think. Yes, 17 from 1968. And that is followed up by another issue. It was this would be issue 18. The boy with the incredible time machine saved the world. As is in this time machine fighting a dinosaur. And this is the jump from 12 cents to 15 cents in the interim. This is issue 18, so it's just one right after the first one I showed. But I believe, and still had the same, still had, I think, the same Frank Springer art. Frank Springer also did a lot of work for DC way back when, and then worked with Frank Robbins on various projects at Marvel. And one interesting thing, these were both reprint from earlier in the decade, and one interesting thing is that these were, Outer Limits was an anthology program, and but instead of having several short stories in the comic, they would have one full-length story, one and done. Okay, then we take a big jump to Buck Rogers in the 25th century. This is number 13. It says Buck tangles with the punishment machine. It's a 50 center, but it's gold key, but it's the Whitman imprint. At this time, I don't think this is 81. Gold key was doing very little under the gold key name, and most of it, especially new material like this, as well as a lot of reprint material, was of course, this is based on the TV show starring Gil Gerard and Aaron Gray. And this is probably one of the last cover paintings that they had, because Whitman was sold in, I think it was a 3-pack, 2 or 3-pack at department stores. And they sometimes published, as I showed when I did the Star Wars stuff, they did special stuff in conjunction with other publishers. But it was, by and large, if it was Whitman, it was Gold Key, because Whitman was a subsidiary of Western Publishing. So they were just reprinting stuff from the Gold Key. This is written by B.S. Watson and art by Mike Roy, and I am unfamiliar with either one of them. The Buck is crashed on another planet. That's 13, and here is 14. Now you see, gone to the line drawing covers. To save expense, that dragon's flame spells doom for a helpless inner city. And B.S. Watson and Mike Roy, same creators. It's funny because on the inside here, they used a more old-fashioned, style of title from way back when, rather than the like this, or that was used from the TV show, with their starfighters and stuff. Had the Marauders and spaceships looking like they did, used in the adaptation of the TV show, rather than actually using, I mean, that was the enemy ships, rather than actually using the design of the enemy ships from the TV show, and I don't know why they did that. That's number 14. Then we go to issue number 16, 1982. And I think this is probably the last one, or nearly the last issue. It's like Rudy Nebris on that cover, and does it give the same creative team on the inside? The Sellers of Souls. So, and of course, this gave them the opportunity to have more unusual looking aliens than they would have seen on the show. Then we go back to the 1970s with Charlton Comics. This is Space, 1999. So the Sylvia, oh geez, I can't remember the name of the producers. They had this live-action TV series from, I want to say 75, 76. This is from 76, so be right in there. Had 2 seasons of this action-packed series, but the creators of this are better known for all their puppet shows, like Fireball XL5 and Supercar and I forgot some of the names of the other ones, but you get what I mean. They had also done, it's because it involved so much miniature work. They were skilled at it. They also produced UFO, British UFO series, fighting aliens coming to invade, and they also did a live-action movie of Journey to the Far Side of the Sun, and of course, which again involved with model spaceships and vehicles and fantastical-looking buildings. All these miniatures, which they were so good at doing for the puppets. And this is from 1975, issue number 4, and Nicola Cuddy and John Byrne are artists in this one. And he did a really good job at capturing the likeness of our main characters, but then like the others, they were able to do more unusual looking aliens than we would have seen on the TV show, just because of the expense involved. That's number 4. Then we go to number 7. It had been the same year, Space 1999. This one has a painted cover, and this was all drawn by had cover painting and interior art by Pat Boyette. There's some really nice painting by Pat Boyette. And this one has a somewhat abbreviated adaptation of the first episode of the 2nd season called The Metamorph, which introduced the character Maya, who was a regular cast member on the show in the 2nd season. And this is some really nice Pat Boyette work. But then we go to, I got them out of order. I'm supposed to go this one first. They also, that's from Charlton Comics, they also published a black and white magazine format, Space 1999. It's from 76, with a gray Morrow painted cover here, and interior work by various very fine artists who worked primarily in, we see them primarily in black and white. I did a lot of stuff for Warren, the Warren magazines. And I see, sometimes it says, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know who that is. Usually had 2 or 3 stories in each of these issues. And this one is, I think, issue number 3. I think that's what that one is. And then here's from later in the same year, 76, Space 1999. This is, what, issue 6, I'm thinking, from the magazine. Number 8, issue number 8. But the funny thing is, again, a great gray Morrow painted cover. But an interesting thing on this is he did the interior, the lead story, which was another comic adaptation of the episode Metamorph. These magazines also included little articles about the things related to the show. And this also had an adaptation of the Metamorph, but this is longer and more detailed. And it had that great gray Morrow art. And it says, Man-Made Moons, Mike Pulaski, another article. But it had a second, as I said, had a second story as well. And it may have been a third in that one, I don't remember. I don't want to talk too much about these because I plan on doing a deep dive into one or the other of these one one of these books. So that is all I had to share with you this time in regards to comic books based on science fiction TV shows. And I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. And let me know what you thought. Do you remember all of these shows? What did you think of them? And what do you think of the comics that are based on them? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, comics are art.